Yes, and welcome back to the Ash Williams Show. My name is Ash Williams, and I am fired up. How the fuck are ya? Oh yeah, guitar today by none other than Orianthi, Michael Jackson's personal guitarist, and that's the only thing she does personal for Michael Jackson, or did do. Orianthi with Michael's song. Loving this. Who's on the keyboard? We got a text during the week saying it was the kid from School of Rock, the Asian kid. Who's on the keyboard? Would love to know. 0406 284 954. Now, we did get a text on the hotline. Shout out. No. Which is why I said Orianthi. This came through from Timmy Lean. It sounds like a fake name, but it's a real name. Timmy who fell down the well. I love that you're sticking with Timmy too, Timmy. You don't hear of a lot of Timmys. All right, Timmy, where's your text? Your intro music, is that Michael Jackson's personal guitarist, the Australian guitar goddess Orianthi? Actually, in all seriousness, I just looked her up on Google and she's pretty hot. Well, guess what? It is Orianthi, Timmy Lean. And I have even some more scoop for you. Guess who's on the show next week? Orianthi. Orianthi coming on the show next week. It's fresh scoop straight out of the oven. We're going to talk all about playing guitars and playing with kids because she... But we are going to talk about Michael Jackson and get to the bottom of the documentary, This Is It. So, yeah, send in your questions for Orianthi next week on the show. One more text and we'll do a simultaneous sip. So get your drinks ready. Bro, what the actual fuck? Paul's got cameras? What is going on? I think you need to eject ASAP. Now, there's one thing about this podcast. We don't have a dump button and we certainly don't have an eject button. So we're going to see this through, but we didn't get 200 Patreons by May 27, so I won't be going to see Paul in the hotel, sadly. Paul, if you're listening. But we are going to call him one last time on the show today. Just a quickie, just to wrap it up. No puns intended and no bums intended either. So we'll talk to Paul. Also on the show, I might be going on a cruise very, very shortly with a dear friend of mine that I've never met or spoken to. But I'm certainly not going to miss out on the cruise. I'm going to tell you about that story in moments. It sounds like a Studio 10 tease. In moments, don't go anywhere. I'll tell you about someone who was on a TV show in the 1950s and how they have dementia now. I've had a lot of coffee, which means it's time for a sip. Simultaneous sip. I did promise to you last week that I'd be drinking out of the Make Some Noise mug, and a promise is a promise. This is it. If you're one of the 15 teenagers who watch this on YouTube, then you can see this mug in the flesh. The MSN mug. 3, 2, 1. It's good stuff. It's good fucking Moccona. Geez, I drank a bit of Moccona yesterday, I got to tell you that. I reckon I might have broken a record. I'd love to know the record for most Moccona drunk in a day. Is there a world record to that? We do need to keep pushing on with the show, so I'll make a note for next week. Moccona world record. Now, 2 weeks ago, we didn't finish a story about Marilyn Monroe on the tram. If you missed the episode, she was the first set of boobs that I ever saw apart from my mum's. And she's a beautiful woman. If you've seen Marilyn Monroe, this girl looked just like her. So I want to know where she's at. You know, I haven't seen her for 25 years. And I got sent a tweet from Tony Simmons who said, "We found Marilyn." So let's just see what this link says. It's a Reddit link, which is never a good sign. Oh, it's a Reddit link from 8 years ago. I didn't even know Reddit were around 8 years ago. This is what it says. Marilyn lookalike. Speaking of notable people around Brisbane, does anyone hang out at Maya and dress like Marilyn Monroe? At Spooky Beth wrote, yes, Marilyn Monroe has spoken to me several times, usually while waiting for the public toilets. One time, she just went to the toilet to sit down because her shoes were hurting her feet. It says this. It says, if you go and say hi to her, she'll say hello back to you, but just don't call her Marilyn. Wink. Very confusing. Do we call her Marilyn or not? It says, just don't call her Marilyn. Wink. That is not helpful. Another comment. Everyone's just saying that Marilyn Monroe glares. I spoke to her in the post office. The fuck is this Reddit link? Oh my God, here's a Facebook fan page. It says, I've spoken to her numerous times. Her name is Deanne and she has a Facebook fan page. Okay, please be the same Marilyn. Here we go. Come on, Wi-Fi. Sorry, this content isn't available right now. This isn't good. Here's another one. I was wondering where she is myself. I used to see her every Saturday in Myers. She sure is good at glaring. Another glaring comment. She used to live in the valley for a few years before I saw her move to the city. She used to keep all of her shoes lined up. She sounds homeless. This is a different girl. She slept under a bench. This is a different Marilyn. Different Marilyn. The Marilyn I saw on the tram lived with her mum in Camberwell. Surely it's a different Marilyn. I'm going to keep on this case. I want to know where Marilyn is. I reckon I could sketch Marilyn on the tram. I still remember it. It was a polka dot sheer blouse. No bra. Far out. All right, let's keep going with the show. Caught an Uber on Saturday and I got in there and his opening salvo was, have you ever been to Thailand? Right? No hello. No, how you doing? Have you ever been to Thailand? And I just knew this is going to be a good trip. Now, he was about 70 and looked like he'd seen some things. So I said to him, nah, mate, never been to Thailand. Stops the car and says, are you crazy? I said, I don't think so, but I will go to Thailand. I will go to Thailand. I promise you this, as my oath to you, Mr. Uber, I will go to Thailand. He said, promise me. I said, I just did. He continued, puts his foot back on the accelerator, and then he says to me, some of the best, this is a quote that I wrote down in the Uber, some of the best looking women I've ever seen have been ladyboys. And I go, okay, does sound good. And he goes, promise me you'll go. I go, I'll go. I'm going. Okay, consider me gone. Got a text on the hotline from Ethan Frankie. Ethan writes, Ash, you've done it again. In the episode with Evie Jones called Block and Licks, at about the 27-minute mark, you said the Big Brother would be back. And now it's back. Okay, well, let's go to the tape.
You know what? The very first season of Big Brother Australia, they used to do a live stream.
You know what? Big Brother will come back. It will come back in the next 2 years.
Yeah, I could not agree more.
There it is. I can predict the future, and I predict in about a month's time I will be with Paul in in some way, maybe metaphorically. I can't say who from last week has been getting people fired up. At the Logies last year, which celebrity and a state premier went home together? All right. If you're a member of Patreon, I will tell you that. Okay. Patreon.com/Ash Ash Williams Show. We've got so many can't say who's. For everyone who wants to know the splendor in the grass, I will call you today. Today I will call you. I've been snowed under this week with something that you'll see I've been doing for Yahoo. So you'll see that. That's pretty funny. If you've seen the clip, I'll share it on my socials. It's just great to finally utilize my American voiceover reel. Okay, so if you like the American voiceover reel, you will like this video I did for Yahoo. I've got another I can't say who, but I'll tell you that next week, featuring an AFL footballer. Problematic videos. We've been sharing problematic videos on Patreon. We shared one of Daryl Summers on Sunday, and that spawned a bevy of emails from listeners sending me problematic videos. So this is going to be a brand new segment where we play problematic videos. For now, it will live on Patreon because some of the stuff that Tony Barber did is it needs to be behind a firewall. But please send in your problematic videos to ashwilliamsshow@gmail.com. Okay, let's get to Sherry, my friend who I've never met. Now, we know what happened with Carol. This is not like Carol, okay? I got a Facebook message in February of this year. I'm going to read it to you. This is from Sherry. Hey, we've decided to celebrate Sherry's 50th on the high seas. The cruise isn't until January 8, 2022, but we're going for 7 days in the Whitsundays, Cairns and Port Douglas. P&O have a special on until the 25th of Feb. So for now, it's only a $1 deposit, with the next deposit due May 2021. Again, heaps of time to save, and if you decide not to go, you only lose $1, which I can pay for all at once. It's a bit of a brag, Sherry. Hopefully you decide to attend my 50th and have a holiday as well. Cheers, Sherry. So in May, I left it a few months and I saw this in my inbox, and remember, I haven't met Sherry, haven't spoken to Sherry, messaged Sherry and said, hey Sherry, is this still going ahead? I got a message back. This is last Monday. Hey Ash, yep, still going ahead. Next lot of money is not due until May 2021. So we should know by then what's happening with COVID. All right, back. Can I give you a quick call this week to get some more details? To which she's said, yep, and she's given me the number. Now, I'm going to give her a call in just a moment. One thing's for sure, I want to go on this cruise. So my goal from this conversation is to get the details, pay the deposit, and do everything I can to get on this cruise in 2022. Now, this is a long run-up. All right, we're assuming that this podcast will be going in 2022, but if it is, guess what? I will be on a cruise doing a podcast from Sherry's 50th. All right, so let's just, let me just get on a Facebook page now. I need to just do a little bit of due diligence about Sherry to make sure, because she's going to say, do I know you? Maybe she won't. She likes drinking Smirnoff Ice, that's for sure. She's got 2 kids. She's married to a man with a moustache. Jesus Christ, she does not mind Halloween. I got a post here from Sherry on April 28. Why is every ad on Facebook something to do with food? Don't they know I'm on a diet? So she's on a diet. How's the diet going, Sherry? Here we go. And she's married to the man with the moustache. I think we've got enough to give her a call.
Hello?
G'day, Sherry.
Yes.
How you doing? It's Ash from Facebook. I was just giving you a call about your 50th cruise coming up.
Okay. Yep. What do you want to know?
So just got to pay the deposit, or is that being held off until we know what's happening with COVID, or?
Okay, so when we booked it, we paid the dollar deposit per person, so that's already been paid because it was only $1 deposit per person.
Yep.
And the next lot of money isn't due until May next year.
Okay, no worries. And who do I pay that to?
The travel agent.
Okay, no worries.
So I'm not sure if I think all the paperwork was emailed to your mum.
Okay. No.
Because I didn't have your email.
Yeah, no worries. All right.
So it all went to your mum.
All good.
So if something happens and you decide not to go, as long as you know by next May, we just lose the dollar that we've already put down.
Oh, no, I'm definitely coming. It looks like I'm not going to miss your 50th, and it sounds like a good chance to have a holiday too.
Yeah. So we don't really need to do anything until this time next year.
Okay, no worries. All right. We'll chat soon then.
Okay, no worries.
Thanks, bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Could that have gone any better? Get in and get out. That's like a bank robbery. I didn't want to commit to too much information. So she thinks I'm someone else, clearly. I think I'm going to have to go through her Facebook friends and see if she's friends with an Ash, and then create a fake email address as that Ash and say, can you send the details to this address? And then I'm going on the cruise in 2022. It's a very long run-up. This is such a long run-up. It's like Merv Hughes about to bowl a spell, but starting his run-up in Darwin. I can't wait for this cruise. She's a bit of fun. We've got another text here. This is from Trev the Truckie. Mate, I just realised I could have bought $62 Patreon memberships to get you to that exclusive 200 figure. And then you would have had to gone and met Paul. Fuck yeah. That would have been the best $120 I've ever spent. And the funniest, hashtag, he's going to shit on your chest. Maybe. We've got to remember, he's only 5'4" and 43 kilos. If he can somehow get me into a precarious position where he can poo on my chest, then Paul's too good. Well played, Paul the pooer. Speaking of Paul, let's get a voicemail on the hotline. 0406 284 954.
Hi, Ashley. Jason here from Patreon. I just wanted to say that picture of Paul on Patreon is exactly what I thought he would look like. Fire up. Bye.
Yes, we do have a picture of Paul on Patreon. If you do want to see a picture of Paul, you'll need to go there, and it is what you expect him to look like. I try not to look at that photo too much because it's genuinely scary. I want to do a quick free shout out here to Rochelle. Rochelle. Got some messages from this lovely lady called Rochelle, and we were DMing on Insta, and then she told me that she is the wife of Cumteeny Mitch. Cumteeny Mitch, who's always texting me about the Cumteenys. I thought Cumteeny Mitch was like 16 years old. He's married to a beautiful woman called Rochelle. So shout out to Rochelle and shout out to Mitch. Shout out. Rochelle. A long journey from Milan to Mitch. Rochelle. We have a Tens and Dudes update coming next week. If you want to see our brand new television commercials on the TV, go to our social media. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to call Paul. He's been messaging me this week saying that the restrictions are gone. It's time to come up and visit. He's even booked a hotel and sent me an address. And he said, I've got us a 1-bedroom room. So we better give him a call, see where he's at. Remember, it always takes 2 goes. I've had so much coffee that my finger was just cramping up. That was crazy. The chances of Paul answering on the first go is like marrying your first girlfriend. I mean, it's fucking slim. You know, what's another good analogy? It's like winning Tats Lotto on your first ever game. Actually, that's a bad analogy because you'll never win Tats Lotto. Sorry to break it to you. Should we start doing a Tats Lotto ticket for Patreon? That could be fun. Could you imagine the Patreon party if we won? And so I start putting money from Patreon towards a Tats Lotto ticket either each week or each month, and we have a Patreon Tats Lotto or Patreon Powerball. Is Powerball still going? Patreon Powerball. That's us. Our first numbers has got to be fucking 5, 4, and maybe 3. So 5'4" and 43 kilos. 5, 4, and 3. 3 numbers, 3 consecutive numbers. I think, anyway, we'll start figuring out the Powerball Patreon numbers. But this is my last time of calling Paul, by the way. This is it. This is it. I know I said it last week, but this is it. Just like Michael Jackson said, this is it. It's like Paul and I are Michael Jackson and Orianthi. Shotgun not being Michael Jackson. Let's give him one last call, and then we're going to wrap up the pod. Here we go. Come on, Paul. He's not answering. I don't think Paul's going to answer. That might be it for the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Of course, patreon.com/Ash Williams Show for anything else. Ash and Ed episodes. A brand new episode with comedian Mark Humphreys from the 7:30 Report, also former host of Pointless. He's on Patreon. Get there for that. Very funny episode. Until then, I'll talk to you in 2-3 days. I'm looking forward to this cruise. Thank you so much for listening. This is The Ash Williams Show. Take care. Bye-bye. The Ash Williams Show is recorded in front of a live studio audience. But due to coronavirus, there is no audience, so you can't hear the laughs.